right, Pickle. A bunch to get to today. Do you want to start? I'll give you an option. We're going to start with our headlines.
Okay.
Do you want to start with college football action or college football off the field stuff?
Let's go action.
Okay. Start with college football action.
Because that already happened.
So there is college football. There was college football this weekend, and this is going to stun you guys. But Mary Hardin Baylor won the American Southwest Conference.
No way.
For the 16th,
Has that ever happened before?
Well, yes, it has. 15 other times it's happened.
To be exact.
Pete Fredenberg's crew are champions of the American Southwest Conference again. They defeat Hardin Simmons 23-15, a really good game. Hardin Simmons had some stomach for the fight, and that's a big rivalry between them. But that was a
it was our Dave Campbell's Texas football game of the week.
It certainly was, and look, we expect Mary Hardin Baylor to be a national title contender, and first things first is to win their conference. But Hardin Simmons gave them everything they want, 23-15. The crew jumped out to an early lead in the first half. They dominated the first half. Hardin Simmons made it real interesting late, but Kyle King was very sharp in this game. They did one thing that made this thing really interesting. Mary Hardin Baylor in the fourth quarter, they're trying to close it out 23-15, and you're thinking, man, 23 points for Mary Hardin Baylor. That's more than enough because their defense is so good. Well, then, not arguably, their best player, Jefferson Fritz, gets run for targeting. It is a borderline call. I'm not going to say it was the wrong call.
Right.
It's a borderline call, but Jefferson Fritz gets run from the game. Hardin Simmons, a couple plays later, is in the end zone.
Especially borderline at that point in the game.
Right, exactly. So, ends up coming down, getting a little hairier than I think Mary Hardin Baylor would have preferred. But in the end, they end up pulling out a 23-15 win to win the program's 16th American Southwest Conference title. I'm starting to think that Pete Fredenberg might know what he's doing. I'm thinking
that's a hot take Tuesday article waiting to happen.
Listen, you guys know I don't like to go, fly off the handle here.
This might be the hottest of takes.
But I think Pete Fredenberg might know what he's doing. So the Mary Hardin Baylor crew are once again champions of the American Southwest Conference. Other action, how about UT Permian Basin?
Yeah.
UT Permian Basin takes down Midwestern State 22-21. And Corey Hogue wrote for TexasFootball.com and basically said, look, they're putting the whole conference on notice, Lone Star Conference on notice. And they were awfully impressive. They limited Midwestern State to just 303 yards total offense, which I know sounds like a lot, but is not by Midwestern State standards. But Justin Kerrigan, I'm telling you, he has been fantastic. And they in overtime, they beat him 22-21. Midwestern State goes down, scores. They get the ball and end up scoring a touchdown and decide to go for two. And Kobe Robinson gets in for the game-winning 2-point conversion, and UT Permian Basin
5-0.
5-0.
That's insane.
And looking very, very good.
Yeah.
So.
And that also means that Midwestern State is 1-2 on the season.
I know,
which is
not
something that you see often.
No, very strange.
Stings.
Very strange. And so congratulations to them. You can find other stuff on TexasFootball.com, including our DCTF helmet stickers, where we hand out some helmet stickers to some of the very best players in the state, including Cameron Ward, the quarterback at Incarnate Word, who was once again unbelievable, even in their loss to Nichols. This is very Incarnate Word. They lose 75-45 to Nichols, but he throws 39 of 65 for 470 yards and 6 touchdowns. He has been crazy. But yes.
Those are like Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week numbers there.
And then East Texas Baptist, their win over Texas Lutheran, a freshman quarterback, Troy Yauman from Beaumont Westbrook, was really, really good for them. So go and check out the helmet stickers on TexasFootball.com, honoring some of the best small school athletes in the state of Texas that are playing right now.
Another thing, real fast to shout out, Ish and Shahan run the DCTF college football page on Twitter, and they're really doing a good job with that. So it's at
DCTF CFB.
CFB, yeah. Let's go check that out.
So check that out. Okay, now to off the field stuff. Pickle, where'd you go to college?
The University of North Texas in Denton, Texas.
Okay.
Go Mean Green.
Do you want to give us a call?
Caw!
Thank you. there was some question going into the offseason as to who was going to be the quarterback for North Texas moving forward, right? Some big questions, and I think that it really came down to it came down to what you thought of two particular guys, Austin Awney and Jason Bean, guys who really more or less split time last year. I think
they couldn't really decide.
Yeah.
It was rolling with the hot hand almost.
Yeah,
at any
more
point.
or less. Now, there are other guys who are coming in, including Jace Reuter, the North Carolina transfer, who will be immediately eligible. So he adds an extra element to that too.
Yes.
Well, the North Texas quarterback situation began to sort itself out last week when it became known that Jason Bean is going to be transferring. He is transferring to Kansas to play for Coach Emmett Jones, who at least is the interim coach. And he will have 3 years of eligibility remaining as he transfers to Kansas.
That was a surprising move, I feel like.
Well, look,
kind of.
Yeah, it's a little bit surprising, and I think people may look at this and be like, well, yeah, if you have an opportunity to go play for a Big 12 school, you go and take it, and they're not wrong, but Kansas is in such a bad way right now. In a lot of, they're without a coach. God bless Coach Jones up there. We're big fans of him, but they're in a tough way right now. You don't know who their new head coach is going to be. You don't know who's going to be there. They just kicked off Quaydarius Davis.
Right.
He enters a very, as Shahan Jayaraja puts on TexasFootball.com, very murky situation there at Kansas. But look, he threw for 1,100 yards and 14 touchdowns last year. He ran for a little bit. He's a quality player. He's a quality player. It remains to be seen exactly how he'll do up there at Kansas because we just don't know what the situation is going to be. But now one would think that it then narrows down the quarterback situation there to Jace Reuter, who I would probably call the presumptive starter.
I can confirm. I went to the green and white scrimmage.
Let's go to our North Texas Insider.
So I actually went to take down some notes to hand over to Shahan for magazine stuff. And Ani was with first team.
Okay. Well.
So and he looked pretty good.
Okay.
So
we will see what happens, but
yeah, it's definitely. Obviously it was a scrimmage. Everyone's getting reps in and stuff, but I do know that Ani was. He was starting the drives and everything like that. So they might stick with what they got.
Who knows? But anyway, Jason Bean transferring to Kansas. And then one other note. This from a press conference, I guess a Zoom press conference that Jimbo Fisher had. He dropped this little nugget that Jalen Weidermeyer, the tight end for Texas A&M, and I believe, let me make sure I don't put my foot in my mouth here. I want to say he was their leading receiver last year. No, I'm sorry, Aeneas Smith was he was their second. Aeneas Smith's a running back, so if you want to say that he was their leading receiver, then he didn't lead the team in receiving yards. But 506 yards, 6 touchdowns. He will miss spring ball this year after what they're calling a, quote, freak off-the-field accident, end quote. He apparently cut his hand and will miss spring ball because of it. It required surgery on a tendon.
Good Lord, that's painful.
So now they didn't go into details, and they don't owe us details or anything like that. But they will be without their, they're at least their most decorated receiving target right now.
Yeah, who desperately needs his hands.
Yeah, that tends to be important, I would say, for
a receiver
playing tight end. Yeah, but Jalen Weidermeyer is going to be there. And so Caleb Chapman's also sitting out while he's finishing while he's finishing up rehab. That is not surprising. I know he was injured late in the game, or late in the game against Florida and never returned. I think Caleb Chapman is, by all accounts, going to be ready for the season, but he's not going to be ready for spring. Damon Demas is dealing with a legal issue. We'll see where he ends up landing as far as that. And then the other thing is Devon Chan is only going to be a partial participant, not for any bad reason, but he's running track for A&M, and that was a big reason why You go back to when he was being recruited for Fort Penn Marshall. One of the big reasons he went to A&M because they would say you can run track for us too. So he's running track, so he'll be a partial participant in their spring ball as well. But those are some news and notes from Texas A&M spring ball, and those are some news and notes, some headlines from across the state of Texas.